Hey everyone, and welcome. In this guide, you will learn how to improve one of the basics behind game sense in Valorant: rotating. Knowing when to rotate and when you shouldn't rotate is a complex skill and requires tons of experience to master. But just by paying attention to some key information from your teammates and the map, you can make sure you are where your team needs you to be. But before we get into that, do you find yourself struggling to win gunfights? Are you a bit lost on what you should be doing in-game? Or maybe you find yourself stuck at your current rank? Well, don't worry, as our brand new hyper improvement system is specifically designed to solve these problems. At SkillCapped.com, you'll finally learn how to improve your aim, different techniques to win gunfights, and so much more. We have professional courses on every single agent, map, and mechanic in Valorant. This is backed by the top pros, players, and coaches to make sure you're getting the most up-to-date and accurate info possible. In fact, we are so confident that you'll improve using our system that we offer a rank improvement guarantee. Check it out for yourself in the link below. Simply put in what rank you're currently stuck at and find out what rank you're guaranteed by using our system. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your true potential and get the rank you've always wanted at SkillCapped.com, link in the description below. Without further ado, let's talk about how to rotate properly and some pro tips for winning more rounds by being in the right place. To start off, let's go over 2 ways to play a site. You might have heard of the idea of anchoring a site. Being an anchor simply means you are the last one to leave the site on a rotate. You'll stay there for an extra little bit, even if your teammates are calling for a rotate, just to be certain that they aren't faking. Typically, anchors want to wait until the bomb is spotted to rotate, unless the round timer is very low and the attacking team only has one site that they can head to. This is of course to avoid over-rotating and leaving a site open. As for the anchor's positioning on the site, typically you want to hold deeper and slightly safer angles. You don't want to make first contact on enemies rushing into the site, and you want to trade for your teammates who are making first contact after you avoid enemy utility. Sentinels like Cypher and Killjoy are exceptional anchors because their utility lets them get great information without exposing themselves at all. Now the other way to play the site is as a rotator, and for this guide we want to focus on the different ways this player can make an impact on the game through their decision making. A much wider variety of agents can act as rotators. Rotators gain quick information at the start of a round using their abilities, and then they can be early to help out wherever enemies are spotted. Agents with recon abilities like Sova can use it early in the round to find out where enemies are or aren't and relay that information to your team. Meanwhile, duelists can fulfill this same role but with higher risk. Instead of using recon abilities, you can use your utility to push early as a defender and narrow down the number of sites the opponents can attack. Of course, you shouldn't play the same way each round and just push every time, but early aggression as a duelist can help your team narrow down where to focus on defense significantly. And since you aren't the anchor, you can now rotate after gaining this information. As a duelist who has pushed into enemy territory, this might be a good time to take advantage of our next concept: flanking. Flanking is a simple but extremely powerful tactic that can get you free kills and round wins, but can also get you killed if done improperly. When flanking, there are some important things to remember to maintain effectiveness and the element of surprise. First of all, you need to be quick and decisive. The later into a round you flank, the more possible places your opponent could be. At the start of a round, the enemy's possible locations are narrowed down by the force fields. You also need to know how to manage your noise. When should you run and when should you walk? This of course varies from map to map and is a skill you will only pick up through playing the game. After initially clearing an angle, as a flanker you can sometimes run immediately, assuming no opponents are camping waiting for your push. But once you're behind your enemies, you need to manage your noise to avoid alerting them to your presence. Of course, if you walk too early, it will take you way too long to get anywhere. Trying repeated flanks will also lead to someone waiting for you around some angle you might not check. So make sure you vary your approach and don't play the same way each round. Now that we've covered some of the nuances of flanking, let's talk about the more common defensive rotation through your spawn or connectors. Defensive rotations aren't as flashy as flanks, but they are the backbone of good defender side play. As a defender, your rotation should be coordinated with your team to shut down rushes and have adequate response to pushes consisting of multiple attackers. Take Haven for example. If the other team is slow pushing C, as a B player who wants to help, you should call someone playing A over to come provide cover on B while you rotate over to C. Working with your teammates and communicating constantly is necessary to coordinate what you're covering and avoid getting shot in the back. As mentioned earlier, it's also important that you do not rotate too early. Giving up and leaving your site as soon as one enemy is seen cross-map is a surefire way to lose rounds to lurkers and fakes. A golden piece of information when rotating is the location of the spike. If the spike is seen by one of your players, you can quickly rotate over, and even if the enemies end up backing off, you know that they can't just plant on the other side of the map. With these ideas in mind, we can now discuss when it's good to perform a standard rotation versus when you should take initiative and flank. Deciding when to rotate quickly and when to flank is one of the harder decisions to make as a defender, and there are countless factors to keep in mind while you do this. Keep in mind just how early into the round you are. An early flank has a much higher chance of success. The later in the round you are, the more likely it is opponents could start to suspect someone's coming behind them and wait for you to pop out. You also have to take into account your team's communication and evaluate the urgency of your rotation. If your teammate calls 5 rushing C on Haven, it's probably a good idea to quickly rotate over to C and help the rush before they come down long, rather than go all the way around the map to come behind them. Quickly rotating yields you the advantage of being able to trade for your teammates and lets you know exactly where your opponents will come from as they push onto the site. If you're flanking after a rush, you might be forced into a retake, in which case the attackers have the edge. On the other hand, if they aren't rushing a site but you scouted out long C and they use some utility near A, there might be an opening to get behind them while they prepare to push your teammates. Another extremely important consideration is the nature of the site you're going to. If you're playing on bind and your team has already lost B, running over to retake B through spawn is the fastest way to go. But what happens if you already have 2 teammates running through spawn? Now you're extremely susceptible to being killed as a team by utility, and your retake is extremely predictable. You're essentially forced to come out one by one from the exact same place. If you see you have a teammate already making the standard rotate, it could be worth considering flanking, if only just to stagger where you come from and watch angles your other teammates can't. You'll also be able to peek simultaneously with teammates coming from other directions and set up great crossfires for trades. Flanking gives you an advantage both in catching your opponents off guard, but also in opening up options when retaking. At the same time, a standard rotation is much quicker, and you are way less vulnerable to die to someone waiting for your flank while you're not ready to retaliate. Of course, situations aren't always as black and white as flank or rotate. Oftentimes, the flow of play will call for you to be at either site in a relatively short amount of time. For situations like these, you can use a great strategy that we call cheating, or a cheat rotate. Cheating just means that you are not fully rotating to a site. Instead, you will lean towards or cheat in the direction of another area that might need help. This means instead of going all the way to the other site, you head towards it as much as possible without completely relinquishing the area you are currently controlling. The advantage of this is your ability to be where the enemy shows up as fast as possible. A drawback is that you aren't fully watching either site as you sit between them both. A good example of this is on bind. If you have a teammate on A and you suspect the enemies are going B, you can head over to spawn without committing to either site. As mentioned earlier, you are now not watching anything, but you're prepared to quickly react to a push on either site. Another great example of this is B site on split as Cypher. Cypher is a great agent for doing cheat rotates as he can actually watch a site while he isn't there. Killjoy has this ability as well. If you notice that B is quiet or suspect an A push, you can set up your camera and then cheat over to A through spawn. If you spot enemies with your camera, you can use tripwires and cages to stall them while you run back B. Or you can easily help if the enemy team pushes A. Unfortunately, you will not always be playing a sentinel or have enough teammates still alive to allow you to cheat to a site without giving the other one up completely. In some cases, particularly when you have partial information, it's worth considering playing retake. Some sites are just much easier to retake than others. As a defender, B on Haven is much easier to reclaim than A or C. If you know, for example, that your opponents are on the east side of the map, you might fully commit to defending C. It's possible your opponents could still go B, however, retaking B can be done through mid, A-link, and C-link. On the other hand, retaking C requires much more time to get a flanker all the way around, and you're mostly forced through the spawn or connector choke points. By fortifying C, you also increase your chance of successfully defending the site, as you and your teammate can trade for each other or use utility to support one another. Furthermore, opponents will often use utility to break into the site, so when retaking, you'll probably have more abilities available. Maneuvers like playing for retake or cheating towards a site always end up strengthening and weakening certain positions of the map. It is crucial that your teammates are aware of where they have support and where the team is conceding ground. This brings us to our final topic, communication. Now, communication should be at the absolute top of your mind, whether you are rotating, flanking, or anchoring a site. Giving off information about where enemies were seen and what abilities they use is vital to controlling the map. When rotating, you want to make sure your team knows you're rotating so they can play around your arrival rather than peeking and dying before they get there. As a flanker, you want to relay all the information you get. This includes places where you don't find players. By clearing out parts of the map, you can help your team narrow down possible locations for the enemies. Finally, as an anchor, you need to call out agents as you see them. Call for rotates when you feel a push coming, and tell your team not to rotate or overreact if the situation does not call for a full defense of your site. Your site is your responsibility, and everyone on your team should know how to play around it through your communication. Communication can be the make or break when it comes to defender side in Valorant. Every piece of information is vital, and your teammates can only react to what they know. The same goes for you, of course. If you're missing information, don't be afraid to ask quick, tactical questions to get a feel for where your opponents are and what to expect. Information is everything in a tactical shooter, and when it comes to rotations, knowing everyone's health, location, and abilities available can be the difference between a win and a loss. And remember, if you want to improve, win more gunfights, and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out SkillCapped.com, link in the description below. So how are you going to improve your rotations? Do you need to improve your flank timing? Are you having trouble deciding when to be aggressive and when to be safe? Or are you just not communicating and reacting to the information you receive properly? Let us know in the comment section below, as it gives us great feedback on what to tailor our guides towards. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and like the video to get more premium guides just like this one, with one goal in mind: helping you become a better player. We here at SkillCapped want to thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.